Okay, we're back, and now we're going to start to assemble our stuffing. As we already prepared our mushrooms, wash them, slice them, let them dry. They're ready to go, and that was 3 8-ounce packages of your favorite kind. I'm using, once again, button, shiitake, and portobello, but you can use any type you like, or all the same kind. It doesn't have to be 3 different kinds. I just like the variety because we're mushroom lovers. If you're not as fond of, other kinds of mushrooms, you don't have to add 3 kinds. That's fine. We covered this a couple of episodes ago when we were preparing our mushrooms. But what we're going to do now is we're going to get our butter and olive oil up to a high heat. Now I have used about 1/3 of a stick of butter and about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And we're going to get that going. I'm going to show you the difference between a sauteed mushroom and a shock mushroom. And most of it is heat. You want to get this pan smoking hot. So I'm going to tilt the camera down so you can see what I'm doing and how they actually turn out. We're also going to add about a tablespoon of Spice Chicks rosemary. And people are like, I have rosemary. But the difference between our rosemary leaves and conventional rosemary leaves that you buy in the grocery store is that ours are really small and they're super, super fragrant. Now, if you can find those in another brand, that's fine. But if you can't, visit Spice Chicks on Etsy.com and you can get the holiday pack, which contains everything that we're using, as I mentioned before. But just in case this is your first segment and you don't know, now you know where to get us. Anyway, let's get cooking. I'm going to tilt the camera down now and let's get to work. There we go. You can see it. Okay, bringing this up to very high heat. We don't want to burn anything, but we want to sear the mushroom, and that's the whole idea. So when this starts to snap and crackle, I know that it's ready. And then we'll throw our mushrooms in. Now, when you're adding something to high heat, make sure that you always add it away from yourself, not towards yourself, because it can splatter and burn you. We definitely don't want that. Okay, we're almost there. I can start to hear it crackle. Okay, when you can start to hear it crackle, it's time. Now take your bowl, scoop your mushrooms in. And you want the crackling sound. Absolutely what you want. Okay? Keep your bowl handy because we're going to put them right back in when we're done. And then we'll work on the celery and onion after that. I'm going to go ahead and throw in my Spice Chicks rosemary. Like I said, about a tablespoon. About that much. Okay? Just evenly distributed. We're going to toss them anyway, but who wants to deal with a clump in the middle of the pan, right? Okay, keep giving them a quick flip and then let them simmer down a bit. And don't turn the heat down, because otherwise you'll end up with a saute. As you'll notice, our mashed potatoes are still on to boil. We just want to cook those until they're fork tender, nothing further, and they're almost there. You can tell when they start going from kind of a yellow color to a more of a white color when they're just about done. Now you'll notice that these mushrooms pretty much soaked up then our greases very quickly. Okay, I'm just going to pat these down a little bit and let them brown. And I'm going to go ahead and give my potatoes the fork test, just so that I know where they're at. Oh, those are perfect. Yep, done. After we get done with this, I'll show you the secret to the greatest mashed potatoes on the face of the earth. There is a secret to mashed potatoes. And have you ever noticed that some of the mashed potatoes you have, they taste like so rich and potato hearty. I don't even know how to describe it. And then other ones you have, kind of taste like water. Well, there's a secret to that. I'm going to show you what it is, because you know I'm a big kiss and tell. I have to tell you everything. But good for you. And it's so easy. You'll love it. Anyway, let's get back to our mushrooms. Give them a quick check. Now the smell of rosemary, man, not much better than that. Nothing gets much better than that. Okay? Now these are going to take a few, and you'll know they're done when the edges of the mushrooms start to turn golden brown. And you know, if you find that you're getting a lot of liquid in the pan, if you can, crank that heat up even further. We don't want the liquid, we want the nice seared mushroom because they're more firm, they're going to stand up in your stuffing and salute you and pay attention. So that's what we want, that's what we're going for. And it does take time, but the higher the heat, the less the time. And that butter is going to work as your browning agent, while the olive oil is going to give that butter a little bit of sustaining grease so that we don't burn. So that's why you combine the two. Butter, browning, olive oil, longer term. There you go. Now these are going to create a little bit of juice while they're cooking, but we want that juice to cook out very quickly. And as you might have seen, I cranked up my heat a little bit more. I was almost all the way up to high, and now I am all the way on high. That's how hot these have to cook. But it's so worth it. You'll love them. They're so good. And by the way, these make the best mushrooms to put on top of the steak. Oh, man, they're so good. Amazing. And yes, you can use any variety for your steak, just like we are here. We're just going to toss these into our stuffing mix, which I have a bowl already prepared on my counter. Find the biggest mixing bowl you can, the biggest one you have, because we're going to get a little messy with this when we add in all the ingredients. But it's going to shrink down really quickly when we add our fluids. Just so you know, maybe you might need to find that and wash it up just to get it ready. I'll be right back. Oh yeah, now the liquid is cooking out beautifully. Perfect. These are going to be awesome. Now my grandmother taught me a secret about sauteing. When things, you just flip them, they're kind of loud, and when they're browning, they get kind of quiet. So you might listen for the brown, you know, the loud sounds, and then as it gets quieter, you know they're browning. It's time to flip. Now I can hear in the background my pan is getting a little more quiet and a little more quiet as time goes on. It's just a great tip for learning how to brown things. Like potatoes, you don't want to keep flipping them because they turn to mashed potatoes and grease, basically. That's how she did it. She listened for the sound, loud, not done, quiet, browning. Good tip. Oh yeah, these are just about done. It really does go that fast. Once you get the mushrooms to that point, I'm going to let them do this maybe once or twice more. Just get them nice and golden. And I'll show them to you when we get done because there won't be any fluid left in the pan. Unlike a sauteed mushroom, it's just going to have a lot of fluid left in the pan. Now, if you do decide to saute mushrooms instead of French hock, please make sure that you include the juice from those mushrooms as part of your broth measurement. Like if you're making, you know, stuffing, we're going to use about 2 cups of broth to start with because every size of bread is a little bit, you know, every loaf that you get from a market is a little different, and then there are different textures to breads. Like sourdough is very dense. You might need a little bit more, but we're going to start with 2 cups, and I'll show you that step here in a couple of minutes once we get these items sauteed up. And it sounds like it's getting quiet again, so it's time for me to flip. Oh my gosh, those are unreal. Okay, one more time and we'll be done with those. I told you it was simple. Really that easy. Well, you know, we don't like to do anything super complicated. We want that food to speak for itself. And these will stand up and everyone will notice the mushrooms in the stuffing. I hope you try this. Don't be intimidated by it. It really is easy. It's just heat. That's all it is. Heat and butter. It does everything. Butter, I mean, let's face it. I can make a living on butter. Well, pretty much I am making a living on butter. Butter and spices. But anyway, I think our mushrooms are done. We're going to pull those out and I'll give them a show to you so that you can see what we're going for exactly. Oh man, those are awesome. Okay, bring them over so you can see. See the nice golden brown? And no fluid whatsoever. Those are perfect. Perfect shocked mushrooms. Okay, now while our pan is warm, we're gonna go ahead and saute up our celery and onions, which, you know, most people already know how to do. Not hard. Just gonna add a little bit more olive oil to the pan because the pan is empty. And saute them up. And then we'll get to assembling. And then we'll have another side dish down. How great is that? So easy when you do all the prep work ahead of time. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and saute these. Since we pretty much know how to do that, we're just going for a tender crisp. They don't need to be done all the way because they're going to bake in the stuffing as well when you put it in the oven while the turkey is resting. That simple. But I'll be back to show you how to assemble, and I'll see you soon. Bye.